You get your 501c3 and suddenly everyone expects you to know how to run a board, manage budgets, comply with IRS rules, write grants, track data, build partnerships, and raise six figures, all without any form of training or support. That's not only unrealistic, it's unsustainable.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Nonprofit Coach. This is where passion meets clarity and paperwork turns to power. Because your mission doesn't get funded just because it exists. It gets funded because it's built to last. I'm Willie Finklin, the Grant Goat, here to cut through the fluff and give you the real strategies to start, grow, and fund your vision. Your level up starts now.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Nonprofit Coach, the podcast that gives you valuable, no-fluff insights to help you start, fund, and grow your nonprofit in about 10 minutes. I'm Willie Finklin, also known as the Grant Goat, and I'm the founder of PM3 University, a consulting and coaching hub designed specifically for nonprofit leaders, change makers, and social entrepreneurs. I created this podcast for the busy nonprofit professional who's passionate about the mission but overwhelmed by the process. You want to make a difference, but between compliance, funding, board development, and everything else, it can feel like you're trying to build a house during a hurricane. Believe me, I've been there. I didn't start with a blueprint or a huge network. I started with a desire to serve, a hunger to learn, and a deep respect for what it means to lead with purpose. Over the years, I worked as a program director, an executive director, a grant administrator, a community partner, and now a nonprofit strategist and coach. Along the way, I've helped nonprofits raise over $31 million in development funds and more than $26 million in competitive grants that include federal, state, and private grants. But none of that came easy. I learned from every mistake, every failed proposal, every board that didn't engage, and every budget that didn't balance. I built PM3 University because I believe no one should have to figure this out alone. PM3 University exists to make nonprofit success accessible, not just for the large, well-established organizations, but especially for grassroots leaders, founders, and startups who are just getting their vision off the ground. We specialize in helping people launch nonprofits the right way, from their very first board meeting to their first funded program. And just as importantly, we focus on long-term sustainability, not just short-term wins. Our clients don't just get the 501c3, they get systems, clarity, strategy, and confidence. That's the same mission I'm bringing to this podcast. I also know what it's like to be an audiovisual learner. I'm the type of person who loves audiobooks and YouTube tutorials, but sometimes I struggle to finish what I start, especially if it's long, drawn out, or filled with jargon. That's why I fell in love with Blinklist, the app that breaks down big books into 10 to 20-minute takeaways. It made me realize this is exactly how nonprofit training should feel. It should be simple, fast, and full of value. The 10-Minute Nonprofit Coach is my answer to that. Because, let's be honest, most nonprofit leaders don't have time to sit through a 90-minute webinar on governance. You're wearing multiple hats, managing volunteers, trying to meet community needs, and juggling everything from operations to outreach. That's why every episode I created is rooted in clarity, action, and impact. Each month, I'll bring you 4 types of episodes. Nonprofit startup tips. These are for founders and dreamers. We'll talk about creating your vision, forming your board, navigating compliance, and getting your nonprofit off the ground. Next, we'll talk about grant writing strategies. I'll break down how to find grants, write winning proposals, and how to tell your story in a way that get funders to say yes. The third area is challenges and solutions. We'll address real issues, burnout, lack of board support, fundraising plateaus, and what to do about them. The final area is growth and strategy. These episodes are for leaders ready to scale. We'll discuss strategic planning, revenue diversification, leadership development, and more. Every episode will start with a certain cadence. I'll start with a strong hook, something bold, something honest, or something relevant. Next, I'll break it down into 3 key takeaways. Finally, I'll leave you with a clear action step you can take into the day. This format is intentional. My goal isn't just to inform you, it's to equip you. Because if you can take just one meaningful step each week, that's over 50 steps forward in your nonprofit journey in a year. That kind of consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds success. I've had the honor of watching a nonprofit go from I have an idea to we're funded and hiring staff. I've coached clients through their first grant win, celebrated their first gala fundraiser, and even helped some land major partnerships with school districts, hospitals, and city agencies. But what I'm most proud of are the stories of confidence when someone tells me, Willie, I finally feel like I know what I'm doing. That's everything. That's the mission. But before I wrap up this episode, I want to take a moment to talk about why this podcast is truly necessary. Why I believe it matters, not just for you as an individual leader, but for the future of the nonprofit sector as a whole. There's something I see over and over again in this space. Incredible people with even more incredible missions who are doing all the right things for their community, but they're not doing the right things for their organizations. They lead with heart, with vision, with purpose, but lack the infrastructure, systems, and strategy that keeps nonprofits strong and sustainable. And honestly, it's not their fault. There's a major gap in capacity building and ongoing education in the nonprofit sector, especially for smaller, emerging organizations and grassroots founders. You get your 501c3 and suddenly everyone expects you to know how to run a board, manage budgets, comply with IRS rules, write grants, track data, build partnerships, and raise six figures, all without any form of training or support. That's not only unrealistic, it's unsustainable. And that's why I also started a blog called Beyond the 501c3, because I've seen too many passionate founders believe that getting their tax exempt status was the finish line. But in reality, it's just the starting block. Getting that IRS letter doesn't mean you're fundable, and success is not guaranteed. The real work, that comes after, and it's often in the unseen, uncelebrated areas of nonprofit management. The things that people don't post about, but funders always ask me about. Let me break down just a few of those areas that often get pushed to the side, but are absolutely critical in your nonprofit organization to grow and thrive. Let's start with financial management. Look, I know most people didn't start a nonprofit because they love bookkeeping. You started this because you wanted to make a difference. But here's the truth. Financial clarity isn't an option. It's mission critical. If you can't read a balance sheet, build a budget, or demonstrate fiscal responsibility, funders will hesitate. And honestly, they should. Money follows structure. So if the finances aren't in order, it's going to be hard to move forward, no matter how good your mission is. Right alongside that is compliance. Now I get it. This stuff isn't exciting. Annual filings, board policies, state renewals, it's the back office work that rarely gets talked about. But staying in good standing with the IRS and your state is the foundation your funding stands on. Missing a deadline or neglecting a required report can not only hurt your credibility, it puts your whole entire nonprofit at risk. So yeah, it's not glamorous, but it's absolutely necessary. Then there's continuous improvement. This one is big. I see so many nonprofits running programs year after year without stopping to ask, is this really working? Data isn't just something you throw into a report for a funder. It's a learning tool. It helps you to evolve, adjust, and deliver more impact. The best nonprofits aren't just consistent, they're continuously improving. And while we're talking about doing things better, let's talk about collaboration, specifically true collaborative impact. Now, I'm not talking about slapping a logo on your flyer and calling it a partnership. I'm talking about real collaboration, where you share data, align goals, and coordinate services to better serve your community. Funders love it. Communities benefit from it. And you don't have to do it all alone when you're part of a coalition that's rowing in the same direction. Collaboration isn't just a buzzword. It's a capacity builder. And finally, the often overlooked area is board development. Now, let's be honest. Most folks build their board with whoever says yes, their cousins, church friends, or people they know personally. And hey, that might be where you start, but it's not how you're going to grow consistently. Your board should be a strategic engine. They should bring connections, financial support, specialized skills, and a shared commitment to your mission. The right board can open doors you could never open on your own. So whether you're struggling for traction to get funded or overwhelmed by the back end of running your nonprofit, or just unsure what the next steps look like, I got you. Each week, I'll walk with you for 10 minutes and give you one power-packed insight you can apply right away. Because I believe this, when nonprofit leaders are equipped, organizations are empowered, and communities are transformed. That's the real mission behind this podcast. So now that you know what the 10-Minute Nonprofit Coach is all about, here's what I want you to do next. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. These episodes are fast, focused, and full of energy. You won't want to miss a single one. Second, let me know what's on your mind. DM me on Instagram at PM3University, leave a comment below, or email me your biggest question. I'll be using your feedback to create new episodes that speak directly to your journey. Third, share this podcast with another nonprofit leader. Maybe it's someone who just started their organization, or maybe it's someone who's been at it for years but is ready for fresh perspective. Either way, send them this episode. Let's build a community that grows together. And if you're looking for more resources and tools and step-by-step guides to grow your nonprofit, head over to pm3universities.com. We've got templates, live trainings, and courses that will take the guesswork out of the process. Thanks again for tuning in to the first episode. I'm Willie Finklin, the Grant Goat, and this is the 10-Minute Nonprofit Coach, your weekly nonprofit power-up. I'll see you in the next episode.